She cried actually when once the roof went on, and first time she was away for 3 weeks or so, and she walked into the big back area. She's sort of tearing up. So it was a weird feeling. I was like, oh shit, I better cry too.
G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of Level Up. We're back in the shed this afternoon for another cracking episode. This one's pretty exciting because I've seen a lot of growth in this guy over the last sort of 6 to 12 months, and I think he's definitely got a lot of value to add to all the listeners. So huge warm welcome to Zach from Surge Constructions. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. Thanks for having me on.
No, mate, look, thanks very much for taking the time out of your afternoon to come and sit with us and tell your story.
No problem.
It's mate, it's been absolutely awesome seeing the growth. I think so. Zach's a member of Live Like Build, our Elevate community. So have you been with us since last October?
I think it's hard to remember. Like, I know that it would be coming up close to 12 months, but I did sign up and just not put in for a couple of months. I was a bit of a spectator, like I was too busy and didn't jump right in. But it must be getting close to that, yeah.
Yeah, no, mate, I'm really keen to hear more of your story. I know a little bit of your background and that, but definitely seeing the growth and confidence, and even just sitting here now before we started recording, talking about your numbers, and like you're about to sort of have the same turnover in the next 5 months as you've had in the last sort of year or two. So things are definitely heading in the right direction. So, like, can we go back before all of that? And like, so how did you get into the building industry?
Well, when I was younger, my stepfather, he was a carpenter, so school holidays would just go on site, he'd give you $100 a day I think he would chip in a little bit more than what his actual boss would pay. Like, he was not the builder, but he was really trying to, I guess, foster that work ethic. Like, because some weeks I remember getting $700 or $800 and you're only 15 years old cleaning up on site. So,
geez, you would have had some good pushies or whatever you're into back then for that money.
Oh, I didn't really know it at the time, but then, like, as I got a bit older, when I was in between work or whatever, before I'd started my apprenticeship, you'd go mow his lawns and he would flick you like a good amount of cash. So I sort of realised a bit later on that he was just trying to, pump it up and make you motivated. Yeah,
that's awesome to have someone like that in your life that's giving you that head start.
So he was my sister's dad. So he's 60 or so now, and he's actually just started come back, and he started doing a few days for us. So he's his body's slowly giving out, but he's if you're giving him an apprentice, they just are an extension of his feet and hands, and he's good to go. So.
Yeah, it's awesome, eh? When you get an older guy that has a passion for it, you get him around the younger guys, and they just everything just flows and happens. And
he, I think he loves teaching the younger guys. He's actually doing a raise at his own house, and he's had one of our apprentices on loan now for 6 or 8 weeks. So it's good for both of them.
So is getting into the building industry something you thought you wanted to do?
I didn't really know. Like, I just sort of I tried to go to uni for 6 months. Like, I think I was kind of pushed by my mum a little bit to get a degree or go to uni. And then
what were you going to do?
I was studying like some bullshit finance, asset management or something like that. And I didn't really know, so I picked one. But I was always like a keen footy player when I was younger, so I thought about sports management, that sort of stuff. But it got to the first sort of pull-out point, and I jumped out and went and got an apprenticeship as a carpenter. Yeah, that was back on the sunny coast. I think I finished in around 2006, but worked for a subby, so we had all, like, he quoted jobs for mainly one builder, but over the year it would be 4 or 5 builders. And there was just the two of us. Mainly we were doing all steel post homes, like on the side of the hills in Malula and that sort of stuff. Yeah. But it was really good. Like, he was mostly about speed when you look back at it. Like, there was only 2 of us and we had to rip through the jobs, but we had a lot of experience doing all.
It's good to get that experience, but isn't it? Like, I spent a couple of years of my time working for a builder or a contractor that was doing a lot of volume work, and it really makes me appreciate now and have some tips and hints for my boys and how to get their speed up.
Yeah, that's right. It was almost volume work. It was just above it, I'd say, but pretty average sort of houses and that sort of thing. Yeah. And then after that, I went over to I subbed for a little bit once I finished my time. Like, he wanted to stop subbing, so he gave me all of his contracts and then came back to work for me 3 days a week for $50 an hour or $60 an hour, something like that. I can't really remember. And then that was right before the GFC happened. So everything quietened up, and then I ended up getting a fly-in fly-out job over in Karratha in Western Australia. Yeah. We did formwork and steel fixing and concreting, all sort of big civil works. So, yeah, that was good at the time. Like,
good experience.
young guy, you're getting paid a ton to be over there.
Yeah.
And then ended up doing that for quite a while, and then got to the point where I just hated it. It was like, I've got to get it back into residential, and always wanted to be a builder. Like, as soon as I started my apprenticeship, I started my Cert 4, but kind of just got a bit sidetracked.
Yeah,
getting paid good, and then split up with my long-term missus at the time, and then spent heaps of time traveling and that sort of stuff, come back and work and get cashed up and then go blow it all again.
It's a typical cycle, isn't it?
Yeah, but then got over all that and jumped back into residential, and then straight back in towards getting the builder's license again.
So how long you had your builder's license now?
2 years. Yeah. So
well, mate, you're kicking goals. So why, like this, it really interests me now with everything that I do in the industry, and obviously having lived like Bill, like you've only been 2 years now. So you're only just over 12 months when you come over to live like Bill. Like what made you get to a point where you're like, shit, I want to learn how to run my business better. I want to make sure I hit the ground running.
Well, I didn't realize how bloody hard it was going to be. Like, it's like I used to work for one of the other members in Elevate. So, and he must be similar age. I'm not actually sure how old Jamie is, but we would always share posts, and a couple from you. Yeah. So then I started following you. And there's a few other guys like that used to share a lot of info. So, like, I think for me, I've learned shitloads from following other people that are happy to share. Yeah. It just wasn't really working. Like, I was so stressed, not sleeping, didn't know how much money I was going to make, or if, you'd quickly be laying there in your head and think how much money you knew you had coming in, and you'd be like, aircon, 10 grand, installation, tilers, this, and then shit. And then
you've got nothing left.
Sort of I just wanted to get better.
So what were the biggest struggles for your first 12 months? Like, was it getting work? Was it pricing the work? Was it because it's one of those things that you don't know what you don't know. Exactly.
Yeah. So I feel like the first year was quite a fluke. Like, 2 clients came from Tanya. One was her friend, and one was, they were both her friends, sort of thing. And they sort of got their hair done with her and that sort of thing. So they both signed up to try and get the builder's grant. Yeah. They both signed up, and that was before I'd left working for someone else. So I was like, all right, I got these 2 jobs that were, definitely underquoted.
It's hard at the time, but isn't it? Because you think, oh shit, like whatever it is, 200 grand, 300 grand, 400 grand. Like, that's great. Got these big jobs.
That's right. And then I just did everything wrong. Like, just multiple variations, didn't charge properly for them.
Didn't do any paperwork, I assume.
Yeah. Well, a little bit, not properly. Yeah. What else? I started group chats with the wife and husband, and then I was getting text messages at 10 o'clock at night and all that stuff. Even one text I remember, it would said you don't have to read this tonight. And it was
3 pages long,
30 centimeter long text. Yeah. So, but yeah, I used to think straight away, the clients were such a pain in the ass. Like, I didn't really want to be a builder anymore. But then listening to the podcast and other people say, you say it all the time that, it doesn't have to be like that. So your clients can be your friends, and everything, can be better. And
it is very hard to get it, but when you're in that position.
Well, now, it's completely different. Like, all the clients I got are just fantastic. Like, I've got 2 or 3 at the moment that we're, heavily involved with. And, sometimes it might be a bit of a waste of time, but they might just ring up for a chat almost. It's, one of the guys we're about to start with, we've done the pack process and everything. It's been maybe 6 or 7 months, and we're going to get started in August. Just everything's really positive, and that's from the communication and the confidence and the knowledge that you're putting out. Like, when in the first year, you might get asked a question, or you might get a situation that comes up and you just haven't dealt with it before, and you think you don't even know what to do, or you might just go a bit silent, or you might have just fucked up and been a bit slack, and you could have done it better. Like, you could have described something better, or explained how this might cost more, you kind of.
So many builders are really just drifting along, aren't they? You don't know what you don't know. You don't understand your numbers.
That's exactly right. Like, I was finding that, at least probably 10 or 15 times I'd have a situation where you'd decide whether you would like cop a bit of a financial loss or have a real bad client experience. And like if you're early, you know, it might be only little things, but early on in the piece, like they all build up. But also you don't want to go down the route of having like, you know, a bad relationship with clients early on. So it's kind of like,
that just adds to the stress because then you've got that extra bit of financial burden on top of the fact that you haven't really quoted the job or understood your cost to begin with, and it just snowballs.
Yeah, like they were both, yeah, exactly. Like, and that was when all the COVID stuff happened. So one of them got delayed, and we couldn't get the floor, like we couldn't get joists. So we ended up pushing that to October. We started one in May, so we had to find something in the middle. And I was at Aldi, and I had all this timber on the car, and then this guy pulled up and asked if I was a builder, and I said, yeah. And he said, oh, I've got a job for you. And he said, he does decks, and he said clients of his want this renovation done in Fig Tree Pocket.
Yeah.
But it's too big for him, and he just gave me their number and the plans, and then ended up doing that job for them. So they ended up being really good clients. But it was just kind of a fluke, like the work just kept flowing on, and then it's always sort of felt like that a little bit, like you start to feel like you're lightening up and you get a little bit worried, and then something comes up. And so I haven't really got into too much trouble with running out of work yet or anything like that.
So it's more just the structure of the processes and like knowing your numbers and getting everything a lot more streamlined.
Oh yeah, that's right. So that was you know, I always did pay myself a wage the whole time in the first year and everything. Like it wasn't much, but it was regular. Yeah. But because every job would stop and start, and then we did a bit of work at our own house, there was just no way of knowing. Like I had no idea like how much we've made or what like the turnover was or anything. Like we just kind of just
drifting along. I think so many builders get caught in that situation because it is quite like everyone wants something done, whether it's a bathroom, a kitchen, a deck, a new build, renovation, whatever. So like generally it's very, very easy for builders to find work. But it's one of those things, like a lot of the time you've got a lot of work on because you're too cheap.
Yeah.
And so you think it's fantastic. You got all this work. I'm booked out. I'm so busy, but your bank account's got nothing in it. You're struggling to pay your bills, or you got no cash flow. And
yeah, that's right. So that was definitely the first year or so. Even like the second year. So we just, I guess, our anniversary as a company is right before the financial year. So kind of like we're just about to go into our proper third year. Yeah. But yeah, it takes a while to catch it up. Like when you get a little bit behind, but.
Oh, 100%. And actually, I should change my wording there. It's not that you've got heaps of work on because you're too cheap. It's you got heaps of work on because you don't understand the running costs of your business. You're not quoting things properly. You're not allowing company profit and those types of things. So because the first couple of jobs we didn't have an allowance for supervision. Like I was the head chippy, the builder, the supervisor, everything. But yeah, once you actually realise how much time you waste, not waste, but how much time needs to be spent on everything else. It takes a lot of time to run a building business.
But they were both the standard, like cost plus, I priced it and then added 10%, and it was just way off. This amazes me because I did it for a long time. Where did you get 10% from?
Oh,
I have no idea. It just like no idea. I mean, 10% net would be good, like after all of your overheads, like you'd be. But yeah, 10% overall.
But it's a figure that's thrown around our industry all the time.
Yeah. I have no idea where it come from. I think the builders that I work for, like, talk about just adding 10%, and it's just like the mythical number that's just there.
And it can, if you do a $500,000 job, like it's like 50 grand, you're like, fuck, like 50 grand. I do 3 jobs a year, make 50 grand, 150 grand. Like I'm doing really well.
Yeah.
But you don't realize that it's costing your business 180 grand to run.
That's it. So yeah, that's right. Like now, since I've properly started cost tracking, I've also run like the profit first method. So I've got 6 or 7 accounts now actually. So
yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? Did you get that from Sean Van Dyke or contractors? Or?
I followed this lady. Her name's Christy Marshall. She's like
the Aussie
version of it, I guess. But I didn't really put it into play. Like,
actually, we need to get her on the podcast. She'd be a good one to come on and talk about the Aussie version.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Sorry to interrupt, guys, but we've got to thank our sponsors because without them, we can't keep delivering you this incredible podcast. So massive shout out to DPS Constructions, Quotees, Live Life Build, and 44 Gallon Films. Make sure you go and check those guys out, support them so that we can keep delivering you this incredible podcast.
Yeah, so I didn't put it into play until after you did. You did another little I can't remember which one of the Elevate sessions was about it. You know, like you spoke about
Different
profit
bank
first
accounts,
method.
yeah.
And then, like, I dove back into it. Like, I wanted to do it, but you have to have money in the bank to actually send it off to all your different accounts. So,
Well, it makes you, that's the whole idea of it. Like,
yeah,
it
and
makes
now it changes your whole mindset. Like,
Yeah.
we, yeah. So, started doing that. And then, you know, once I started tracking it properly, like, even just, your wage, like if you've got two jobs going on, like which margin do you take it out of and all that sort of stuff. Like before,
Yeah.
it would just, you know, everything would come out and there'd be, you know, nothing left, or you
Yeah.
just don't know anything. So,
And that's again, it's just I don't know. Look, to be a builder, there's definitely a lot to know, and I definitely used to blame the clients a lot for the situations I was in, but like the clients don't know that you're not
they
running
don't
your
know
business
anything.
properly.
Yeah, that's right. So,
And at the end of the day, it's not their responsibility to know. Like,
yeah,
it's easy to fall in that trap of blaming your clients and architects, designers, and but at the end of the day, like we're running a business, like we need to take responsibility to actually learn how to run a business.
yeah. So, yeah, definitely I think that's one of the biggest positive changes that I've brought in is that profit first method, not just tracking on the cost, but that as well. So we
It's funny you say that it was hard, you couldn't get it started because you had no money, because that's the whole idea.
Well,
of it.
even
Like
still, like
it opens your mind up to
you
go,
send it over and then you get it back again to pay a bill, and then you send it over and then you try and send the same that you pulled out back, and it's not quite working out. But we've taken it a step further and trying to do a proper full materials and subs split, like so a materials and subs account as well, so that it's split up just a little bit more. But
yeah, mate, it is such a good idea. Like the whole philosophy of like paying yourself first, taking all your GST and your taxes out, setting all your invoices and like your job costs aside, like putting a bit into a defects account. Like,
yeah, so the defects one's great. Like I just started doing that after that Zoom session, and it's starting to build up. And it's terrifying when you hear the stories that some people get.
And it's good just I know it gives me a lot of comfort. Like we've had a few, like three fairly costly experiences over the years that I just put them down now as learning exercises, but they weren't defects or anything. It was just knowledge, really. Like there is so much to know as a builder, and I don't know. It's one thing I always think about now. Like I've recently just signed off one of our guys to get his builder's license, and I think to myself, fuck, like I shouldn't have done that. Like they're just like, he makes mistakes on our job. So, but then it's hard because like you have to start for yourself. You have to make mistakes because your mistakes are what ultimately makes you learn.
Yeah, you just got to hope you don't have a mortal mistake.
Yeah.
No, I definitely think so. Like we used to be a leading hand or supervisor or whatever you want to call it, and still stressed close to as much, but not the same. But you just need the time in the seat. Like until you lose your own money and your own sleep, and you know your life suffers a little bit. You don't really take the full lesson on board. Like you you might cost the builder you're working for a couple of grand or whatever the mistake's worth. You know, but you still just go home and wash it off by the weekend. Like
it is definitely a hard one. I don't know. I think I was pretty old school, mate. If we fucked up when I was a apprentice and a subby, like we definitely knew about it. We'd get it bloody docked of our pay and all sorts of things. But it does make you understand that like you have to know stuff, and like especially nowadays, like with the amount of new products and
even
stuff around,
all the bathroom changes and stuff that just come in. Like if you go and don't do your falls right, like. You know,
mate, it blows my mind that like the builders I talk to even now about these new NCC changes, and they're like, what are you talking about? Like, mate, like they're literally, some already come in, and like October there's more. Like,
yeah, well, we just had our first one affect us. So like we had a job that had an open shower and a freestanding bath, and now like if you have an open shower, you've got to full your whole wet area, which meant the bath would be 15 mil on the piss with the grout line. So, like that's a pretty big deal. So
so that like you've now got to be having those conversations with clients, so there's an expectation.
Yeah, definitely. Like we already had it, priced and planned ages ago. Like it was on the back burner, and then we brought it forward when another job was delayed. And so then we've just had to say, like, you can't really have your unenclosed shower and your freestanding bath. Like you have to pick which one's more important to you. Otherwise, you can't really get around it.
Yeah, you put the bath in at a level and it's going to show up somewhere, isn't it? Even if it doesn't show up on the grout lines and things, you're going to see it when it's full of water.
Yeah, or you would have like 15 mil of sticker under one end or something like. I
And
think
mate, there'll be
the
builders
bath
out there that'll
companies
do
will
that.
jump on board. Like they'll start making baths that have one is to 100 fall on them probably.
Yeah, well, look, something's definitely going to have to give. Like, I've just done some more work on it today, actually, with one of our designers, because we definitely want to make sure we've got our heads around it before they come into force. Because it's a huge change. Like, obviously, every wet area now that's got a floor waste has to have fall outside the shower as well. Like, we've always done fall to those floor wastes, but
I think
not to the extent that they
well, you're going to have to everyone's going to have a big strip drain straight through the middle of their floor everywhere, because you don't want to be cutting all the tiles on little angles and stuff like.
Yeah, well, that's the sort of the path we're going down. Like, and obviously that's
what we did as well. We just put a big strip drain straight through the guts. Like, we're in a reno, so you can't put it up against the wall, because to get that extra length means extra height at the step at the door, and you don't want to end up with a 80 or a 90 mil step. Like you got to. Yeah,
it is a hard one, because then it affects all your tile layouts and your floor. Like, it's obviously everyone wants big tiles these days, so you don't want to have all these triangle cuts through your floor to get to your floorway. So it is something that we like. I think it's one of those things, like, again, as a builder, I don't know, we probably sort of don't take it seriously enough a lot of the time. Like, whereas like I didn't in the old days, now I take it very seriously. Like, if there's a change come out or a regulation, or these ones are big ones, like they're actual national construction code changes. But like I sort of, with my business now, and I think you're the same, like I treat my business no different to like a doctor. Like, a doctor has to constantly be studying and being up to speed on bloody medicines and all these types of things. Like, it's our job as builders to make sure we're constantly upping our game with products and materials and how to install them and how to educate our team and all that type of stuff.
I think so. Like, I think everyone else who doesn't is going to get left far behind. Like, the way that everything changes so quickly and the better methods to do things. Like, I was sort of just getting my head around it when I first started, and I feel like I was lucky to jump on with Live Life Build. Like, I'm not sure if it would have been something else or not, but I feel like there's plenty of people that just don't do anything like forever. That's it, and that's the way they got taught. But and especially if they don't have any social media or don't follow any trades, like, I would have learned heaps of techniques from watching better guys online that I now do.
There's also some pretty shit ones on there. I see some things, like concrete is one thing that shits me. I follow quite a few concretes and it shits me to tears. I see them doing a pour and there's no chairs, or the chairs are like a metre apart and the mesh is on the ground, and it's it goes both ways. There's plenty of people out there promoting that they're awesome, but
I was more trying to get to the point that some of the older guys that don't do any more training or don't follow any of that stuff, like, they might have only worked with 6 blokes, and then they got their builder's license. Well, they only know 6 ways to do something that the rest of us might know 30 or 40.
Well, mate, there's guys out there that work with someone their entire career, or they might work with one builder and then go and get their license, and they just do things the same way their entire career as what they were shown, and it could be the wrong way.
Yeah, definitely.
And again, you don't know what you don't know. Like, until you ask questions, or you go to seminars, or you mate, I'm incredibly proud of the community like we have with Live Life Build. Like, obviously everyone's there to improve their business, improve their life, but the knowledge we have in our group, like, we got so many passive house builders, we got a couple of older guys that have got incredible experience with all types of building. Like, it's amazing. Like,
it's really good. I think I didn't really expect that side of it when I signed up. Like, we did Launchpad, which was really good. Like, it was a good taste tester, and there's just enough big things to get you super keen and signed up. And then I wasn't expecting the full community side of it. Like, everyone's just good people. We were speaking about it earlier with Shay that if you're paying the membership and you're doing stuff like that, like, it weeds out all the people that aren't serious about getting better, and everyone everyone who's coming in there has got an open mind. So
you got to put in time. It's like I do plenty of sort of coaching and mentoring now. Like, I don't think I'll ever stop. Like, I think it doesn't matter what level you're at. I think we all need some sort of community that we can interact with and ask questions and get advice from and be a bit vulnerable around. Like,
it's really good for that. It's really good just to see a bunch of other people doing exactly what you do and how they're handling their situations and everything. Feel like yeah, you sort of just have to adopt that it's a never ending learning process. Like
Yeah.
you might get really good at one thing, like your cost tracking or whatever, and then you look to the right of you and you've got no marketing, you've got none of this, or you've been stressed and not given enough time to the boys and they're worried.
Yeah.
So it's like, as soon as you master one thing, there's something else that's that you're real far behind in. So
oh mate, it is hard. And look, I question myself all the time. Even in the last couple of weeks, we've had a team member leave and had a bit of a blow up at the end and told me I'm putting myself on a pedestal and that I'm a fraud, and if only people knew what I'm really like. And like these people, like, look, there's people out there that are very closed-minded and don't take ownership about things, but it is a hard job. Like, it doesn't matter if you have all the systems and processes. Like, being a builder or running any business, like some of the conversations that I've had with some of these guys, like when you're on site, like a builder has to manage, you have so many different trades, you have your own team, you have suppliers, like there is so many different personalities, different opinions, different beliefs. People have been brought up, like especially with the older trades, like they've done things the same way for so long. Like you've got to be very open-minded and be able to adapt to different situations, and you might communicate very differently to one person that you do to another person.
Yeah.
And that is part of running a business.
Yeah, definitely. It's really hard, the whole staff thing, I think, and like the suppliers and the subbies. You definitely have like a few eccentric ones and that sort of stuff, but I think the staff's a whole nother like kettle of fish. So, and
it's incredible how, and look, I fail to see it sometimes, and there's certain members of the team that give me feedback and advice, and I don't know, you sort of head down, bum up, and you're busy trying to keep the jobs going, and you know there's more work coming, so occasionally you hold on to certain team members longer than what you really probably should have. And then when they, like, the one thing that always amazes me is the conversations that are had after people leave, and like, I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me all this shit like 6 months ago?
Yeah, I don't have any experience with actually letting someone go. Like, but yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Like, we have a couple of personality clashes just between. We only got 4 guys, and it makes your job so much harder. Like, especially if they have little blow ups at each other. Like you got, like you said, you have so many things to worry about, and then staff bickering on site. It's just like,
and again, it's hard. Like I do try really hard with my team now, because I 100% get it. Like, they are all different. I don't expect them all to be the same. I don't expect them to all get on rosy every single day. Like, they're all different. Yeah,
and you can't. Yeah, they can't all be happy every day. Like, that's you got. Some people, very rare that someone's like chirpy and happy every single day, So it's like, I say that to the young guys, like, sometimes the older guys have shit going on, like, don't.
Well, mate,
because they're people, when you're a young apprentice, like, and you're working with the older tradies, like, you're sort of a bit of a people pleaser, like, you don't want them to be disappointed with you or anything. And
I'm really glad you brought that up, because that is something that I'm really, it's changed the way that I interact with people, because like you just said, you never know what someone's got going on, like, and it really doesn't matter if they're older or younger, but like someone could be dealing with stress at home or abuse or mental health, or they might have a family member died or a pet died. Like, there's so many things, and like you rock, like, I don't know, I do rock up to site most days and like, hey boys, how you going? Like, what are we up to here? What's going on? Like, and you just don't know what's happened that night or that morning. Or
that's it. Like, we had it could have, one of the guys, he had like a small car accident and then wasn't sure if it wasn't going to be covered on insurance or not. And,
so then he's stressed out all week.
And then so it's like, you just got to let people have their space sometimes. But it's hard, even for yourself, to always be that chirpy one on site. Like, because I've noticed when I've been really stressed, like, it's, you can notice that, within one day the vibe's so low. Like, if you're on site, really short and barking orders, or getting pissed off over something that's not really important. But it's still hard. Like, I always say that to the guys, most of them are like the 2 younger guys, I'd say to them, like, this, I'm still learning as well. Like, I can't always be not stressed. Like, it just doesn't. So
I think that's the thing, mate. At the end of the day, we're all still learning. Like, it's okay to be a bit vulnerable every now and then, and have a few. Like, I just think there's no way around every now and then having to have some uncomfortable conversations. But I don't know. I try really hard with my team now. And look, some people just don't speak up and say things. Like, I try really hard to encourage them to put their hand up and let me know if they're having trouble or what's going on or whatever. But look, everyone's very different. But mate, I want to go back. like you mentioned, you might be going perfectly here with your data and things. You look to the right, and there's your marketing and stuff's failing. But like before we started recording, you had an analogy that I think is just fucking awesome. Like,
oh yeah, I was saying it to Dino from Backman. Yeah, because I've never gotten a lead or anything from social media, or even I think I got one phone call from the site sign. Like I've got my numbers on the signs, and I was saying that I feel like like I'm like a bear just huddled over the water waiting for a salmon to swim past and then claw him in and get a job sort of thing. Like it's just sort of worked out like that. But
I think that's so awesome because I reckon that is how most builders operate. Like they're just looking to strike.
And it might not be the, it's not a job you want to do or anything, but it's still a job, and you just go and rip into it and try and get it. Like, and then at the event, these guys are saying they're getting 10, 12 inquiries a week and filter them out, and they might go catch up with one or two of them. And I just think like that just sounds so like, like so foreign to me. Like, like I love the idea of it, but it's a goal. So
it's all a lot of time.
The goal is to try and get one social media inquiry before the end of the year. So if anyone's listening, give us a DM.
Go and fill out the inquiry form.
Even if it's one of the other guys,
Oh, I don't know. It's one of those things. Obviously I'm all over social media now. I think it's an incredibly powerful tool for any type of business. I think it's all about being genuine. Like, yeah,
I think like I really struggled. Like I slowly getting better, and the Friday wins really, I think, was actually posting the first Friday win, and then was the start of me posting like sort of selfie videos or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And still sound a bit awkward, or even when the guy comes in, videographer Phil, when he comes and does a video, I'm still it's definitely not natural. But
the whole reason we do that is
getting really good feedback from the clients and from people they know, saying like, he explains it so well, or he does, so.
One of the reasons we started those Friday wins was for exactly this, mate, was to give people a safe space where they can start to put themselves on video and talk.
It definitely helps, because I know, like, you had him on the podcast the other week, James from Critique. Like, I've followed him for ages, and like, it's just, you feel like you could go sit at the breakfast table with him and talk to him, like, cause
he's a good guy.
You've been you know him personally, like, and then so it's kind of, there's a few people like that you follow that share all the time, and
but doesn't it make,
if you have clients that follow you, that's the feeling they would have when they first reach out, I guess. So that's what you want. Like, you want people feeling comfortable enough to reach out. That's
a really good example. And that, look, I've never met James in person. We messaged it quite a bit on our socials, and like even just from doing that podcast with him the other day, like I messaged him a lot because we're really big on our tile setouts, or not just tile setouts, but all of our setouts on our jobs. And he, I know it's something he does really well. So like I woke up the other morning and I had 2 messages from him, and it was him doing a video saying, "Oh, Dwayne, you'll love this. Check this out." Like, and he's showing me his tile setout. Like,
well, he used to have. I don't think he has it anymore. He used to have a highlight reel of sort of information for people just starting out being builders, or starting out building, talking about turnover and clients, and whether, if you go this big, you might need legal advice and all this sort of stuff, because they're the type of clients that will want lawyers and all this sort of, and that was right when I first became a builder. And I thought it was really helpful. And then there's a few other guys that share a lot too. And I'd message him a couple of times, and he would reply and just say whatever, answer all the questions and that sort of stuff. So, there's a couple like that. There's a guy from New Zealand, QBSIT, I think, qualified. Troy, his name is.
I know Troy, yeah.
He's the same. I would have asked him, I reckon, 20 questions over the last 2 years. And he, sometimes you'll write full paragraphs, just saying, this is what I do, or this is what I do. And, it's really good, yeah.
I think it's fantastic, mate. It is such an incredibly powerful tool. And again, you've come up with another cracking analogy. Like, if you can build that same relationship that you're building with other builders and tradies out there with a potential client, it's they're the clients that they're going to be an awesome relationship.
Like, well, the whole feeling out process, like of not knowing what type of person they are is all gone. Like, if you're sharing all the time, it's pretty hard to fake who you are, like 24/7. So most of the time, if you're updating, every couple of days, then it's pretty easy to get a gauge on how you are, and especially if you keep winning work and your clients are happy and everything. Like, what's
the job on your socials? It looks like it's a tilt panel building, but it's a house.
Oh, that's my engineer, my structural engineer's house. So It's in Clayfield on Sandgate Road if you drive past. But
Yeah.
so he's gone owner builder for it, and we use him. His name's Sagar. We use him for all of our engineering designs and inspections and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's building I think it's 600 square meters all up. So
Did you have some involvement in that?
we did all the structural steel on the roof. So I've got like rigging and dogging and EWP tickets and stuff like that. So done a fair bit of that. So he just had a huge pile of steel and
Yeah, it looked very interesting.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, it's going to look pretty like it's going to look pretty good when it's done. It's got a lot of aluminium screening and that sort of stuff around it. But being an engineer, like it's just a big concrete and steel house.
Do you like something like doing things a little bit out of the ordinary, a little bit different, like a challenge every now and then?
Yeah, definitely. I love it. Like the job we're on at the moment, I started talking to her in I think January 2021. And then we the scope got bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
But she pretty much like we used a draftsman, but I drew up the gatehouse at the front and offset apex carport, and I feel really attached to the design on that job.
Yeah.
So yeah, we price rises and then finance and all that sort of stuff. It's been a few years, but we're finally we're on the home stretch now. The plaster's all gone in, and
so is that a bit of a complicated job, or just been a long, lengthy process?
It's been a lengthy process, yeah. So we priced it up, and then the price rises all happened. She put it on the back burner for a bit, wasn't really comfortable, spending that much money on it. And then, we just got a call at the start of the year and said, fuck it, let's go for it. So,
yeah.
And then
Do you spend a lot of time, like that's a big one. Like if you met with her January 21 and we've gone through all this stuff, like, do you spend a lot of time educating and setting expectations with your clients?
That was that job was before the pack process, like before I knew about pack and everything. So I just did it all for free. Like I hand drew all the front of it.
Yeah.
I think I might have charged her $800 or something like that actually at the start.
Yeah.
And but yeah, pack process would have been perfect for that one. Like the draftsman drew the back section with it's got a big pitched back area, big pitched ceiling.
Yeah.
He drew it all with structural steel, and it was a little bit over budget, and we switched to scissor trusses and saved $25,000, in a couple of minutes, and then a couple of other little things were a bit poxy that we've changed around.
The pack process can add incredible value, can't it? When you as a builder, you're not there to control the design, but when you can have input like that can change something so drastically, that's a big amount of money.
Yeah, that's right. So there's a couple of little things, like even the way he had the laundry, like it was kind of weird. You would open the door and then the laundry was there and the door's on that side, so you'd lose all the space of the door. So we flipped one of the door entries around, and then we could have a 2.5 meter long laundry as opposed to 1,200. So a few things like that you would have picked up on if you're getting paid to go over the plans properly.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's generally happening when you're on site and it becomes variation. And the client thinks,
she's ecstatic with the job. Like she cried actually once the roof went on, and first time she was away for 3 weeks or so, and she walked into the big back area.
I think I remember you having a Friday win about
so it was a weird feeling. I was like, oh shit, I better cry too. But
Did you?
Nah, I didn't know how to. I didn't know. I felt weird actually. Like if someone was crying because they're sad, you have you can. Yeah. I didn't know what to do. I kind of just did a bit of a pirouette and then came back to it. But no, she's loving the weekly site meetings. Like she's stoked. She came to site when we were actually pouring the piers out the back, and the concrete pump was fully laid over the roof, and the guy from the pump company was actually up on the roof, spotting it 100 mil off the ridge cut, because it was a re-roof, so it didn't really matter. But she was blown away. She was like, far out, what's going on? So
yeah, but isn't that incredible that you can you've gone from 2 years ago having some tough situation with your clients, and now having clients that have got such an incredible relationship and trust and respect and treat you in a way that they turn up to site and are so happy they're crying. Yeah,
I know. It's completely different. I haven't put too much thought into comparing it, but when you say it, it's definitely just complete opposite ends of the spectrum now. So
yeah, that must make you pretty proud, mate, to go home and think that you've
It's good, yeah. It's
running a business, you're setting expectations, you're executing your contracts, and
no, it's a good feeling. There's a few wins this year in the last 6 months that I just first time, a couple of times where I think pretty happy with how it's going. Like,
Yeah.
one of them was, I think we had, I don't know what we had on, but I had to have about 3 or 4 Fridays off in a row and, you know, go in and do the morning meeting. And I was just, I think it was Tanya's mum's 50th, and we're up the coast on a Friday. And I was just thinking, like, it's, you know, it's good to be able to do that for yourself. Like, have the days off when you need to. Like, I mean, I still work a lot, but, you know, so.
Well, people don't see, like, that's another hard thing about running a building business. Like, the site stuff's very difficult. You can only sort of generally do it in daylight hours, but like as a business owner, you can schedule things and work things around. Like because you're not there on a Friday doesn't mean you should feel guilty, because you probably put in 20 extra hours just through the nights the week before.
Definitely. I'm a morning person, so I'll be 3:30, and if I've got heaps to do on, I'll even get up at 2:30, and that's my golden time. So 3:30, and then at 5 o'clock I start getting a bit sad because it's time to go and get ready. So
the day start. I'm the same, mate. I'm definitely, like, my most productive times are early mornings and like Saturdays and Sundays. Like,
no distractions. Like,
one of my big mindset shifts was, like, I treat every day the same. I don't have the highs on a I've done some videos about this. Like Sunday afternoon, you start getting all down, depressed because you're like, fuck, I got to go back to work tomorrow. And then Monday is always a terrible day. And then Tuesday, you're like, oh shit, it's back to reality. Wednesday, you start to get a bit of a high because you're midweek. Thursday, you're like smashing it out. You get the work done. And then Friday morning, like by midday, you're like, fuck, the weekend's coming. Like, I don't really feel like doing any more work.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And then you're on a high over the weekend. Whereas, like, now I just treat every day the same. And like, I've been doing it a lot recently because, just like you said, we've had a few things on. We've had quite a few Fridays and Mondays off. And so because that's all scheduled out in my schedule, like Camille and like my wife and I, we've actually put in a few big Sundays in the last couple of months. But we've done that because we know that the following weekend we've got a long weekend away with the family and the kids, and
that's
we
right.
can smash it out. And honestly, on a Sunday, we get more done in 4 hours than we do in 2 days during the week.
Yeah, I feel like for me, it's starting to get to that point. Like, I don't feel upset if I have to do anything on the weekend, or like I never really did too much, but Tan's still in her job and she's very much right in the humps of the week sort of thing. So that's why we want to get some more, get it all cracking and get her on board so that we can. Like, if it's your own business, you don't mind punching out the hours on a Sunday or...
Oh, mate, I think I love it. And like Camille's on the same page now. And like our girls, we've had chats with them about it. We understand. And like it is, like, I think we found that perfect work-life balance. Like, we put in the hours when we know we need to put them in, and we put them in because we get rewarded with it by having time off. And that might mean bloody putting in maybe 2 hours one afternoon or one evening because the following day I want to knock off at 1 or 2 o'clock to catch up with a friend or pick the kids up or whatever it may be.
Yeah, that's right. I just slowly started like conditioning the guys at site that I've got to get out of there and stuff, because sometimes when that's the next sort of battle. I've just started going back into the office a fair bit more. Still go every morning or at least every day, but like sometimes I'll be like, all right, I'm leaving, and then they'll be like, well, what are you doing for the rest of the day?
It is really hard, and I used to get that a lot, and I also used to I don't know, it made me get to a point for a while where I was probably looking back, I was being a bit sneaky about things because I was like, I don't want them to know that I'm going back to the office because they're going to think I'm doing nothing all day. Like,
yeah, I know.
It's whereas
if you put them in your shoes for a week, like that.
Oh, I'm pretty open with my boys now. Like they know. Like, I'll say to them, "Oh, I've got." Like, we actually had a team meeting only a week or two ago, and obviously, like, I run multiple businesses now, and I just said to them, "Look, I can 100% trust you guys. Like, the quality of work on site's fantastic." And because one of the boys said, "Oh, look, you definitely don't get to the sites as much as you used to." And I said, "Oh, look, I'm glad you brought that up. Like, just let me know. Like, if you there's other times you need me there, like, let's send me a message or shoot me put a message on Slack, and we can make sure we get things locked in." But it's made me realize that what I'm sort of doing is helping, because I'm always saying to the boys, "Oh, look, I'm going to be in the office. I got a full day of Zoom calls today, or I won't be on site for the next 2 days because I got this on." Like, I try and sort of educate them on what's going on, and I think they appreciate it because they can see how much Camille and I are busting our ass to make sure the business keeps flowing and they get paid and all those types of things. But mate, can we talk a little bit about, you just mentioned that your wife Tanya, or soon to be wife Tanya, is getting married in a couple of months, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's right. So in October we're going over to Bali. We've got a buy out of a resort, and there's 80 or so coming over, so it's going to be good fun.
Yeah, that'll be freaking awesome, mate. It's good when you can do that with your with family and friends and have a big party.
Yeah, so we're getting married on the first night, so then the whole next day and night sort of thing will be the recovery or whatever you want to call it. But
I don't know if you'll be recovering, mate, when you got 80 feet at
be
people
good to
overseas.
have a laugh at all the whoever's the biggest pelican the night before. There's no escaping.
But mate, you were saying earlier that like your sort of a bit of an open-ended goal is over the next sort of 6 or 8 months to bring her into the business.
Yeah, that's right. So like we don't have an admin person, so it's definitely really lacking. Even just anything like I could do with help everywhere sort of thing. So and it's getting to the point now where it's pretty busy in there. And if there was much more workload in the office, like I could already use somebody. I could always be doing more, but
there's a lot to do when it comes to admin, of a building
I think
business.
it's at the moment it's just not getting done. Like even I was saying to Shay, I had a client, trying to confirm a preliminary pack meeting, and I just missed it. I read the email and didn't reply, and then it was 3 days later, and I replied, and that's pretty poor service. So
so we touched on before. So we Live Like Build. We had the live event back in March, and you come along and you bought Tender, and I think Tanya was originally just going to chill out at the resort and not really have much to do with it.
So she didn't really want to come, but I was like, come down to Kingscliff, and she'd always thought it was she thought Live Life Build was just a big circle jerk sort of thing, a bunch of builders pumping each other up and all that sort of stuff. And then she actually sort of agreed to come last minute. She had to work from home. She'd probably get in trouble if her bosses listen. She was supposed to be working from home that day. And then as we turned up, both got split up and off into little groups to do the workshops and everything. And it completely changed her whole mindset on Elevate and on just being a builder and lots of things, like seeing everyone else and hearing their stories and talking to all the other wives and the women that work in the businesses as well.
Yeah, we're massive on encouraging women to we're super proud that we've created a community and Live Like Build that makes them feel comfortable enough to get involved.
Yeah, no, it's like she's been hassling me to hurry up and change the login over so she can see a bit more of the content on the Facebook group. But,
it was hilarious, mate. I remember you guys walking in, and then I think I come over and said g'day to you, I think you introduced me to Tanya, and then when I come back over, I'm like, where's Tanya? And you're like, she's over in that group over there.
That was Amelia, I'm pretty sure. She just split everyone up. So,
and then you just had an absolute ball, and I think she actually gave us a really good. Tanya gave us a really good testimonial at the end of that weekend, and I can't remember it exactly, but it was one of the things she was talking to me about was she didn't understand. Was it something to do with your numbers or tracking your carpentry time or something?
Yeah, so she was because her brother is one of our apprentices, so he's the youngest sort of crew member. But it's been a battle. Just we tried a few timesheet apps and we couldn't get it, and then we can't even get hours. You know what I mean? And then I was telling her the week before we went down, we need to actually break not only the hours down, but every sub carpentry, every sub category, and track it. And she laughed. She went, as if you're ever going to do that. And when we got down there, everyone was like, no, that's what we do. Otherwise they just don't get paid, or they, or they,
we don't allow enough for the next job.
We tell them if this is important to you, then your job's not important to us. And so then she came back and she was like, so she was like, said sorry for laughing at it. She's like, oh, I get it. So,
but she was loving it. It was really, really good to see some of all the wives there, just getting involved and.
I'm super excited for when we are able to bring her on, because she's so passionate about doing a good job, and she's got, she's far more confident than I am at all that, all that sort of stuff. So she'll be able to just take heaps off my plate with the client side of things, and just chasing people up, and she's pretty fierce,
I think she'll definitely
with all that.
Be a big asset to the business, mate. Her personality's fantastic, and I'm just a huge fan. I know how much my businesses have grown by having females in them. They just bring a different.
Well, I think she's
outlook on things.
She's pretty ruthless as well, so I think it'll be good having someone, because no one really keeps you accountable as well. Like
Yeah.
if you're slacking off, like
Yeah.
no one's there over your shoulder saying like, why haven't you done this? Or
Yeah.
so that side of it would be good too.
Yeah, and you can both reap the rewards of like
Yeah.
your business, like seeing your growth. Yeah, in the last whatever it's been 8 odd months, mate. If you keep on that same trajectory, like you're kicking goals. So
Thanks,
I take
mate.
my hat off to you, mate. It's I just love, like, that's the whole reason we do this podcast. Obviously, it's the whole reason we have Live Like Bill. Like builders, our purpose is to get all builders having not just a great business, but having a great life.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I think it's definitely there for the, to be had. Like if you do it all properly, like
Put in a bit of effort, put in a bit of
That's it.
time, put in a bit of money, and you get the rewards from it.
I've changed the whole. Like I used to just when I first became a builder, I'd look at everyone else's Instagram and you'd want to build all these big houses and do all this really cool stuff. But now, like, I'm happy just to build for good clients. Like that's.
Mate, that is the key.
Like I've heard you mention it a few times, and it's only now, like after I've had these couple of good clients, where I'm like, this is great. Like this is easy. There's no conflict. There's no like fear of negativity or any of that. You just every time you go and see them, they're happy. You do a good job, and you get paid like what you're worth for doing the job. And then you don't need to go and do all the big stuff or do speckies or do any of that stuff. Like you can just
the big jobs come because the clients sort of see how you're running your show and what's going on, and they still come. But mate, I am 100% for that. Like when I was getting coaching and mentoring and stuff, like that was always the thing. Oh, you've got to find your blue jobs or your green jobs, But for me, it's all about the client. Like I want a client that's going to respect me, that treats me like a professional, and vice versa. I'm going to treat them really well as well. So for me, it's all about relationship.
Yeah. No, it's like it was definitely a sort of light that just switched on when I started having a better time. Like it took all the
Mate, there's your marketing right there.
Well,
Like you're talking about getting on socials. You need to get on socials and talk about the clients.
It took all the turmoil out, like the stress factor. You get a text or a call from certain people, and you just think, "Fuck, this is going to be painful." Like,
mate, I know builders. I know builders that just don't set business hours, and they get they tell me all the time they get texts and missed phone calls from clients on Saturdays and Sunday nights. Like they'll be trying to go out for a family dinner on a Saturday night, and their phone's ringing from their clients.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that.
Was definitely, I've been there. It's so easy at the start just to have that one frank conversation about it, and then and then you're set. Like that's what I started doing that I never used to do. No group chats for all the family members now.
I think that's hilarious. Like that, you would have got in situations where the wife's saying one thing, the husband's saying a different thing, and you're like,
you
what
wouldn't
do I
believe
do?
it. Hey, it was like being in the middle of a proper argument, of proper fight. Like, well, fine, just do. I remember she said, just do whatever you and the husband think, and then hung up. We were both there on speaker, so it was
But it's good to sit here and laugh about it now. But again, mate, the turnaround's only been because you put in the effort. So you put in the time, money, and effort. You get
it could have been completely different. Like it's you just had to. I just didn't know how to deal with it or how to even start it. Like it's right from the very beginning. Like you've got to be consistent with it. So
yeah. So mate, where to from here? Where's Surge Constructions? What's your goals? Where do you want to take this?
We just really want to get. We sort of just want to double the amount of work we're doing. We don't want to do anything crazy. We just want to do 5 or 6 good jobs a year, enough for me and Tanya to both be employed and have the freedom and not the stress that comes with being too busy that you're always running around. But pretty modest goals really, like for it. It's when you have too much on your plate, it's so stressful, like it's all consuming. So don't really have a system or a magic formula of how many jobs to start or not start or anything like that. But just want to, do jobs that are a little bit bigger than we've been doing and a little bit more consistent. Yeah.
Are you excited? Like I can sort of see it in you. Like are you excited? Like seeing where you've come in 2 years, or seeing where you've been in business 2 years, you've improved massively in 8 months.
The last 2 months have been really good, getting off the tools more. Like I've finally just accepted the fact that I'm ripping the Band-Aid off and not trying to have that role. So I just I still fill in the role of supervisor. Like I try and just get the guys only doing carpentry. There's only 4 of them, so if you lose one of the senior guys to go and do takeoffs or do whatever, like it's a bit of a blow to the labour. But and now there's just heaps more leads to chase up. There's heaps more time to do it. Like I actually sat down and I counted 9 jobs that I sort of just took too long to get back to them, didn't give them enough attention, like, in that in the last 2-year period that, that didn't get, that sort of, I guess you could say, slipped away or, didn't get realized. But yeah, now it's
well, it's really good that you've reviewed that and you sort of recognize where you've let things slide.
Yeah, so it was just being too busy and not following it up. And then the other thing is when we'd get busy, start a new job, and then the last 6 to 8 weeks would drag because you're not fully organised. So now I'm like, that's it. I'm just staying focused on driving home at the end. Everyone's always keen to smash it out at the start, and then you sort of drop off by the time you get to that little closing period. So, but that's it. I mean, the pack process has just been an absolute game changer as well. Everyone that signs up to it just can't rave about it enough. Like,
it's an incredible.
We're about to build a little music studio for a guy.
Yeah.
It's only 20 square meters, like it's pretty small, but there's lots of soundproofing detail and everything. And the pack fee was like, I charged just as much as I would for a full house. And I thought like, he didn't really know. But he, every turn, like he's able to pick up the phone, ask what's this, and you just orchestrate everything for him. And got to ask him for a review. I think he's been absolutely stoked with it. So
it's awesome.
Just the process. We haven't started the job yet, but yeah.
No, well, mate, you're kicking goals though. Mate, thanks very much for coming in. It's been an absolute pleasure having a chat to you. And mate, I'm pumped for you. Like I just think you're kicking goals. You can see the excitement in your face. So if you keep on the same trajectory that you are now, like it's we're gonna have to get you back in another sort of 12, 18 months, mate, and see where you're going. So
thanks, mate. Thanks for
coming on board.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Cheers, mate.
Are you ready to build smarter, live better, and enjoy life? Then head over to livelifebuild.com/elevate to get started.
Everything discussed during the Level Up podcast with me, Dwayne Pearce, is based solely on my own personal experiences and those experiences of my guests. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only, and any reliance on the information provided in this podcast is done at your own risk. We recommend that you obtain your own professional advice in respect to the topics discussed during this podcast.